officers violently attacked his client during his rearrest by officers of the Nigerian police. Sowore, who was the 2023 presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, was arrested over a recent protest organized to advocate the release of the detained IPOB leader. The police immediately arrested the human rights activist after he was granted bail at the Coup Magistrate Court. Addressing journalists on the court premises after the rearrest, Aide said the police officers vowed to deal decisively with Omoyele Sowore. They also said that he was violently taken into the van with the police officers. Let's take a very brief listen to Aide.
Granted bail. Sowore has been granted bail. Sowore has been granted bail. However, while we were conferring with him just here, with all the team of his lawyers and supporters, he was violently attacked by the police. More than 50 police officers violently attacked him and took him again by force. We do not know where they are taking him to. They claim the officer who initiated the attack claimed that he had gotten the remand order. He flashed the remand order to us, but we insisted on seeing it and reviewing the details. But he refused and put it back in his pocket. And the next thing he said that they must go. We said, where are you taking him to? He said they are taking him to Kuje prison. But we said we needed to see the place of the remand as inserted by the court, but he refused to show us the order. An argument ensued. He said because she was called the IG useless, that they must deal with Sowore. All of them are dragging Sowore and attacking him violently. They even tore his shirt in the process. So that is the update currently. We're in the process of trying to perfect the condition for bail. So that is the
Meanwhile, still on Omoyele Sowore, a legal practitioner who was responsible for ensuring the bail process was accelerated today, also described the scenario immediately after Aloy Ejimako Sowore, as well as the 13 others who participated in the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu protest on Monday. They described the harrowing situation Omoyele Sowore went through. Let's take a listen to him.
Some were holding his shirt, some were holding his leg. They were rough handling him. They pushed him until they crashed into this woman's food shop. I don't know what to call it, where he sells food. This is his table. Okay, let me show you. That's the woman's table. They broke it, fell her way, scattered everything. The woman is there. They destroyed her properties for no just cause. Sowore was not resisting going. He said, show me the order you claim that you have, and I will follow you. But the man did not show the order. He just flashed a piece of paper like this so that you can't read it, and then squeezed it and put it in his pocket, and they all bundled him into their vehicle. One of the lawyers, Tope, was injured. If you check his hand, he's injured. Blood was coming out. His bead, this white thing we wear on the neck, was stained with blood. All of us, we ran away. And then the funny thing is that there was a guy who was a lawyer. He was making a call here. They say he was filming them. They also bundled him into their vehicle and left. And they refused anybody from bringing out their phones. If they saw you with phone, they grabbed you and throw you into their vehicle. So I want to find out really from Nigeria. I'm from the Inspector General of Police. Did you give your men order to arrest people who video them in when they are arresting people? If you are doing a good work, shouldn't you want to advertise it so that people know, oh, I'm doing a good work? Why are you scared of being videoed? Why are you doing your things in secret? Sowore said that you are a retired police officer. You are not qualified to be Inspector General. Sort it out with him in court. Why send your men to brutalize him whenever he raises that issue outside? Why do you send your men to brutalize? Because that is the essence of that brutality you saw. It was as if there's something personal between the police officers and Sowore. I don't think it was just because there's a remand order. I think there's something deep personal, and they really want to show him that they can deal with him anyhow and anywhere. That's what I saw here. Thank you.
Name, sir?
My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I'm a lawyer and the one who represented Sowore today in court.
Nnamdi.
All right, that was a scenario that unfolded today. Meanwhile, the special advisor to the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, has slammed Arise television anchor Rufai Zaini over an attack on the current administration. Rufai Zaini had shared an article accusing President Tinubu of being the mastermind of Nigeria's rising debt profile. Reacting to the post as well, Onanuga described Rufai as an economic illiterate, stressing that all nations borrow money and that Tinubu's government's borrowing has not breached the limit. While responding to Onanuga, Rufai wrote, "Dear Egbo Bayo, you don't need to abuse me and call me economic illiterate because I stated Nigeria's debt challenged me with facts. Love and respect despite your abuses. You don't need to abuse me. We all respect you as our Bababi. You can make your point without abuses. While call me an economic illiterate because I stated facts, kindly provide a contrary fact that Nigeria is not owing 152 trillion naira." Now, joining me for the news analysis segment is Barrister Eze Eluche. Barrister Eze Eluche, good evening and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6 today, sir.
Yeah, good evening and thank you for the invite.
Yes, Barrister Eze Eluche. So today the president took a swipe. All his security architecture leads, he changed them with immediate effect. Now, you recall just last weekend, we heard that there was a coup plot and it trended for almost 3 days. Then on a Monday or so thereabout, we now heard the chief of defense staff tell us that there was no coup attempt, or rather there was no coup d'etat. It was quite surprising when the military made that statement, but the defense sector was telling us what actually transpired, that they were actually interrogating some high-profile individuals along with military officers, about 16 of them. And then all of a sudden, after the denial by the military, we're now hearing a complete change in the entire military head leadership, starting from the chief of defense staff, chief of army staff, chief of naval staff. The only person that was maintained was the chief of intelligence. So, sir, how would you react to this?
Well, it is the prerogative of the chief of the commander-in-chief to move the commanding officers of the military at his will, at his discretion. I think hopefully following military seniority and other things. So I'm not privy to any other information that may allude to the fact that there is something untoward that's happened within the military. What we just know as Nigerians is that there has been a change of guards at the various services, the military, the army, navy, air force, and that the former chief of defense staff, Musa, was removed, and the former chief of army staff is now the chief of defense staff. Simple, that is what it is. I'm not in a position to comment regarding whether there was a coup attempt or whatsoever, because it's still in the it's in the realm of what is being imagined, and there's no real substance on ground.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you very well. I
Yes.
said I'm not in a position to affirm or say to the reality of a coup or not. It is the prerogative of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, the president of the Federal Republic, to change his commander service chiefs. So if that is what Mr. Tinubu has done, so be it.
All right, but do you consider this a coincidence with what is going on? Because we saw truckloads of some certain elements who packed themselves at Inquirer. The residents raised alarm, and that they're all coming to register with INEC. All the way from the northern aspect, they came in truckloads to Kwara State. The residents raised alarm today. They were expressly very worried with what they experienced. They lamented. They said they don't understand why there are truckloads of suspected Fulani headers flocking to Kwara border communities for INEC registration, and it's worrisome. So again, what do you think? Do you think that the change in the military architecture is late? Or would you say that this will improve the security situation in the country? Because we've been having consistent onslaught of insecurity, and it feels like the government is overwhelmed. So maybe due to military intelligence or some prerogative from the intelligence agency, the president had to make a quick change. Is it possible that the previous defense chiefs weren't proactive enough, or possibly somehow they knew certain things that they weren't letting Nigerians know, especially with the DSS coming to tell us about an ISWAP threat in Ondo and Kogi State?
Well, let me start from the last point you made.
Okay.
It is rather unfortunate that the DSS had to make public such high levels security information. The previous memos that they write to the military, do they let Nigerians privy to it? I mean, it's odd and it is strange that this particular one of incursion into Nigeria or movement of elements supposed to be terrorists in the Kwara area is made public. So I will not give much credence to it. I rather say it was a failing of intelligence for that kind of information to be made public. With regard to the movement of truckloads of suspected Fulani herdsmen militia across the country, it has become like a norm. And if there was anybody that would be held responsible for such or culpable for such wrongs, it should be the Chief of Immigration. I mean, the Comptroller General of Immigration, whose men should be at the border checking who and who, checking the influx of foreigners into the country, and not necessarily the military or even the police chiefs, because the police is also more on ground. The military are to engage in the event of violent clashes, but if it's just a matter of movement of suspected criminals or terrorists, the people to be held culpable or who to be held responsible for such lapses is the immigration and the police. And in the last reshufflement of security personnel, which was announced earlier today, I think that the IG of police, Ebetoku, still retains his seat, and then the chief of immigration still retains his seat. So that means that the changes in the Air Force, Navy, and Army is not related to that particular incident. But it is odd. For me, one take home is this. It has now become very clear that the entire security apparatus of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the first time in living memory, is now domiciled in one ethnic group. And that is a very sad development. The Inspector General of Police, Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Comptroller General of Immigration, and with regards to financial matters, the EFCC chairperson, the Director General of the DSS, the Central Bank governor, the Minister of Finance. Now, what this means is that the entirety of the top brass of the people in charge of matters related to security, related to the economy, and now related to INEC, the elections, is domiciled in one particular ethnic group. This portends ill for the country. It portends ill. I don't know what Mr. Tinubu has, whether he has forgotten that Nigeria there's something called federal character principle. Yes, I mean, it's worrisome. It does not portend well for the polity, and I think Nigerians will begin to think of a plan B to curtail these aberrations.
What do you think the plan? What plan B will that be? Because it's within the discretion of the president to appoint whomever he wants to appoint that he feels comfortable with, and if he wants to appoint persons from his ethnicity that he feels will deliver appropriately, who else and what alternative would be provided to change that?
Well, I mean, there should be a federal character commission. There should be a Senate that will approve this appointment.
There is a Federal Character Commission, actually.
Yes,
unfortunately, they seem to be redundant.
Yes, even in the Senate, just approved that of the INEC chairman, despite all this, like I said, domiciling all these officials in one ethnic group. Now, if the system has failed, the people should not fail. Then there should be a plan B, and the plan B is what Nigerians will resolve by themselves. That this travesty should not be allowed to go scot-free. Otherwise, what Mr. Tinubu is telling us now that basically he has become the president of the Yorubas, or the Nigerian Yoruba Republic. And that is not the reality. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, multi-religious country, and should and must be run in that line.
But Barrister, the previous administration of Muhammadu Buhari also did the same thing. All the parastatals, majority of the parastatals had persons from his ethnicity. So, and the president had actually told us that he would continue from the previous administration. Again, is it about the ethnicity of these individuals or their ability to perform in their various jurisdiction? If they're all from his ethnicity and they're able to deliver, would there be any wrong in that aspect? It's about competence.
There is absolutely nothing about competence in this issue. The IG of police is Yoruba. What competence has the police established thus far? The director general of the DSS is Yoruba. What competence has the DSS established thus far? Not too long ago, the chief of army staff was Yoruba. What competence has they established? Extend that also to the EFCC, to the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic, and now to the INEC chairman. There is absolutely nothing about competence being exuded by these characters I've mentioned. So the issue is just ethnic, simple. And when you say that Mr. Muhammadu Buhari did the same thing, yeah, I mean, it has never been this bad. Now, picture this scenario. The entirety of the process of elections, from financing the elections, checkmating sources of funding, to insecurity for the elections, to adjudication, that is the judiciary, and even the officials mandated conducting elections, are all domiciled in one ethnic group. What kind of country has this become? Are we now a banana republic? But at the right time, I believe a plan B will evolve, which Nigerians must checkmate into.
All right, Barrister Eliche, are you there? Can you hear me? All right, we seem to have lost connection with Barrister Eliche. The network lately has been very, very inconsistent. Okay, so we're going to try to connect with Barrister Eliche once again, and then he needs to complete his thoughts, because I really want to ask him about the situation recently today in court where Nnamdi Kanu's case was cut off because he couldn't have access to his files, and obviously he would need to present again on Monday. Now, the FCT minister during a media chat today said that he only heard about the summons via the media. Hello, sir.
Yes, so midday.
Yes, thank you for joining us. The connection went off. Unfortunately, the network these days has been very poor. Okay, so let's look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu. Today, he was meant to defend in court, but he couldn't because he couldn't have access to his files. Now, you know, he has discarded his lawyers, okay? And the justice had told him that his defense is still counting. He has only 6 days to wrap up his defense. And it started counting from Thursday when Nnamdi Kanu named all the witnesses that he called out. Now, today during the media chat that Wike organized, he said he heard that he's a witness to Nnamdi Kanu's trial, treason trial, and that he has not been summoned. He has not gotten any summon from the court, but that when he does get a summon from the court, he will definitely appear. There is no worries about that. He would actually appear. So the question that one of the journalists asked was, why would he be a key witness in Nnamdi Kanu's case? And he said to the journalist that she should refer that question to Nnamdi Kanu. But how do you think Nnamdi Kanu on his own will be able to wrap up his defense in 6 days with all of those witnesses that he's meant to cross-examine?
Thank you very much. Now, when you look at the justiciary, that's the symbol of justice, there is the lady has on one hand a sword and the other hand a scale, a measuring scale. And that measuring scale should be balanced. Now, why I'm making this, trying to draw this scenario is this. When you allow the prosecutors, the prosecution to spend over 2 years to prosecute a man, and you now tell that same suspect or defendant that he has only 6 days to marshal his defense, clearly you have a travesty of justice and injustice in place. So even the pronouncement that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu has only 6 days has no place in justice. It is clearly unjust and injustice materializing. Now, by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dispensing with his lawyer, I mean, that I've called for that for a long while, and I think it's one of the best decisions he has made.
You think
because
so?
Lawyers, are you with me?
Yes, sir, but I said you think so. Would his lead counsel Kanu
let me explain.
Okay.
Let me explain.
All right.
Lawyers will be bound by all kinds of ethics and professional labels to maybe be civil, be whatever in court. But now his decisions, his actions, by removing all this issue of having lawyers, goes clear that the whole entirety of the justice procedure in Nigeria is suspect. He has lost confidence in it, and he wants to speak for himself. And I like the list he has presented as his witnesses. Some of them are serving governors, some are former governors and ministers and all that stuff. Beautiful. The state must avail him of all those witnesses. They must be made available to him. There is a section of the Nigerian Constitution, section 308(1), which talks of immunity of serving governors. So that they may try to hide under that cloud that they have immunity. It is not true. Section 308(1)(b) has a provision that they can still testify where they are nominal parties. So the issue is this: when a state, because the state that is prosecuting Nnamdi Kanu, does the state governors not become nominal parties in that instance? And when somebody's life is at stake, does he not have a right to the court not availing the right to bring in any witness he wants for the sake of his life? So, I mean, they should bring those witnesses, including serving governors. The argument of immunity cannot avail. I would have even expected Nnamdi Kanu to name Mr. Bola Tinubu as one of the witnesses.
Really?
Let them all come to court and clear their names or answer the question.
To name the president.
Hold on. This threat by the judge that he has only 6 days, blah, 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 is of no substance. In the sense that so long as the judge did not give the prosecutors 6 days, she allowed them to, at their own leisure, call their witnesses and do whatever, Nnamdi Kanu is entitled to the same treatment. Otherwise, the court can jolly well not bother with even the trial and go straight to passing judgment. Because it appears very, very clear that this is a predetermined judgment. And the 6 days is just for mere, so that it will be said that he has been allowed some time to talk. The court can move ahead. It has that right. Okay, we have ruled you out. This is the judgment, life imprisonment. And then it will be clear to everybody that this was just a charade. But if he has listed witnesses, he must be allowed access to those witnesses to question them and their responses gotten. And the issue of immunity, like I said again, should not be raised. Why do I say it should not be raised? I mean, that would be a question some lawyers will say, why are you going that extent? When a governor or a president is being impeached, he's still in office, but he has to file in a defense. That tells you that the issue of immunity of a governor or president is not sacrosanct. That there are circumstances when it can be impacted upon. And one of those circumstances I submit is where somebody is being tried for treason. So if Nnamdi Kanu has asked for the governors and the president and former political officers to come over there, that is how it should be. And if the judges want, let her overrule him, let her move straight ahead and pass judgment. Then it will be clear to the whole world that indeed this was a persecution and not a prosecution. That before he was even brought to the dock, the judgment had been passed.
Wow, Barrister Richard, I would have really loved to ask you more questions because there are quite a number of technicalities that I actually want cleared out. If Nnamdi Kanu his days are still counting, so he approximately has 4 days. He has taken 2 days. On Thursday, he mentioned his witnesses. Today, when he came to court, they couldn't access his file. The justice was actually not really happy and told him that by next week he would continue. So he only has from Monday till Thursday to wrap up his defense. And if Nyesom Wike and others are still claiming that they have not been served to present themselves in court to be witnesses, to be cross-examined by Nnamdi Kanu, if he's not able to exhaust all of these witnesses in 4 days, then what happens?
What happens is that it is the duty of the court. The defendant is representing himself. He's in detention. He's not allowed to even go and serve these summons on these witnesses. So it is the court that should find a way to inform those witnesses. Otherwise, they release Nnamdi Kanu on bail to go and look for those witnesses. Okay. So, I mean, the reality is this. His actions now are ideal and best suited for the situation. Because the court has made it impossible for him to defend himself. So the court can as well, like I said, forget these 6 days, pass sentence. Then it will dawn on the whole world that this was a persecution. And let the government roll out all its propaganda machinery, just like they're doing now with the issue of Christian genocide. The world sees through all these scams.
All right, Barrister Ezeluche, thank you so much for giving us your insight into some of the stories read out on the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
All right, sir. And that's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachuku. Up next at 7 o'clock, we'll be having the evening rush. And I am going to be expecting Mr. Demola. And he is the political special advisor to His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. To kindly stay with us.